back to Badger Outdoors. This is a bit of an impromptu camp tonight. I've just dropped my son off at Cub Camp and this place was on the way home, so I thought I might as well make the most of it and come out. You may remember from a couple of videos ago, I think, when I was in a bivvy, there were two trees with a great view, and I thought, you know what, in the summer that's where I'm going to go and hang my hammock just for a late night. At a late night pitch, just to watch the sun go down, have a couple of beers. I've also got some burgers. Now I'm not going to cook my beers. I'm going to cook my burgers out there because it's right next to a public footpath, etc. And I've got a bush box to cook them up. So I've just come into this nearby little bit of forest. In fact, I've camped exactly here before, between these two trees, and I left my ridge line, which was a quick deploy ridge line with a toggle on the end, so I was put a bit of effort into it, a wooden toggle, and yeah, it's not here. No surprise. I've always been telling myself you got to go back and get that, and I know, leave no trace. I was meant to come back, but yeah, someone's had it away. I don't blame them. It was a pretty nice little setup with all the prosthetics, etc. on it. Yeah, so bush box tonight. I've got a different hammock, which is the One-Wind Hammock, the 12-foot version. I'll explain why I got the 12-foot. Yeah, so first off, I'm going to get this bush box going. There is a fallen ash over there that was here well over a year ago when I was here. So I know that's pretty good wood. I just snapped a whole load of stuff off, so I can get that going. A couple of burgers, and then yeah, head off and I'll show you the hammock. This is the smaller steel version. I found the titanium one has warped a bit. I've got the larger, the XL titanium. I found that's warped a little bit. It's harder to get going. This has held its shape, the steel version, quite a bit better. What else we got? Right, for processing the wood, I'm going to use this. Maybe have a talk about knives. I've been putting a lot of thought into knives. My two hobbies really are hammocks and knives. But in the UK, you just got to be really careful. And so I've been doing a fair bit of research into research and thought into what I carry. I'll maybe explain that. But this here is not a legal carry. I'm nowhere near where I would expect the public to be. There may be some public over there. I'm going to use it and put it away back in my bag. I don't carry knives on me because that's just inviting trouble. I leave them deep in the bag. The chance of someone saying, I want to search your bag, is highly unlikely. The time when you're going to get searched and found out that you've got something on there is if someone sees you with it and contacts the police, and they're then able to search you under pace, as long as they follow the rules. So yeah, it stays in there, and but the nice thing about this is that I've got a knife on there. That's a 4-inch blade. It's relatively not particularly high, 2 mils. It's a locking blade on these. This is a Victorinox. It's a number 57, which is, I think it's a Ranger. You press the button there and that closes it. So it is a locking blade and it's 4 inches, so it's not a legal carry. But then my son has got one of these. He's got the number 9 Junior, and it's a 2-inch blade. It's a piddly little thing that's all rounded off at the end, but because it's locking, it's not a legal carry. So I mean, the rules are 3 inches. It's got to be folding and it can't be locking, and then you're fine. Anything other than that, then you have to give good reason why you are legally using it. So I'm foraging for stuff to cook my food. I'm not camping here, I'm just cooking a bit of food and then I'm moving on. So there's that there. You've then got a 4-inch saw, which is friggin' sharp, and this really does do well. So this is a really nice while camping knife option. This is a sharpened spine, so you can use it with a ferro rod, whereas the main blade is rounded, so you can't use it with a ferro rod. You then obviously got the got to have a wine bottle opener for the wild camping glamping option. You then got the tweezers and toothpick, which this has had one tick already a couple of weeks back. There we go. I'm not going to get these out, they're quite hard to get out. Oh, there you go. So you've got a bottle opener. I think there's another thing here, I don't know what it's actually for. And then you've got I forget what it's called now. It's basically for burrowing holes into stuff. And this one is a little bit different in that it's got a second knife, second blade, which is not locking, and it's curved, and this is for doing game. I've used this on a couple of rabbits already. It's got a blunted end so that it doesn't nick anything as you're opening up to clean out. Yeah, it's a really nice bit of kit, so I thought I'll just bring this out. I'm just doing a little bush box. This is more than adequate. You don't need a big knife, and if you're going to take a knife out, yeah, only take the size of knife that you need. If you don't need a big knife, don't take it. Yeah, certainly don't brandish it, and always remember, a knife is a tool, it's not a weapon. You're not going to use it to defend yourself, because you camp while camping on your own. If you said that you were going to do that, then yeah, firstly, that's illegal and you'll get really done for that. And secondly, you're probably camping in the wrong place. Don't go wild camping if you think there's a genuine reason that you might be in danger. But yeah, right, let's get some wood going. Right, I can tell this is ash, and ash are pretty obvious. The end of the branches curl up, and they normally got the little black, there you go, little black buds on the end. But another thing you get on them are those there. So if you ever see these around, you'll know it's dead ash. So these are kind of a fungus. I don't know a hell of a lot about them. I've used them a couple of times. They are, I think they're called King Alfred's cake, and they're very good. Just cut them open, and if you want to get a flint and steel, get a spark into there, and it'll hold that for quite a long time actually. So you can maybe take remnants of a fire and move it somewhere, or you can use your flint and steel, get it into here, and then help get that into some good dry matter, dry grass or something, and get your fire going. But I've managed to fire a couple of times out of these. They're quite handy, so I think I will harvest those and just take them home. I'll just keep a small number of them. Yeah, this is pretty good. This is going through stuff quite nicely. Just for a bush box fire, it's absolutely great. Brilliant. Right, time's getting on. Whoops. So that's come off. No, that's not. That one there. And this one goes on top. Beautiful. Yeah, that'd be great. There he is. I think the steel ones are definitely better. They just don't deform. This one goes together relatively easily, whereas my titanium one does not. Right, I've got my little mini fire kit. If I can't be bothered to carry my full set, let's keep that there, a little fire set available. And while I could light it with a lighter, no bushcrafter, I think. Not that I'm a bushcrafter. You've always got to use your fire steel, don't you? I could use that King Alfred's, I suppose, but I really don't have time. And knowing my lock on film, it wouldn't work. and I don't have a decent fire steel, but right, let's have a go. I'm just going to try and use one of these. These are the little plugs, and I'm making a real hash of putting this apart. There we go. I think that'll do, and I've got a load of twigs to go on it. There you go. I've set it on the top there. So with this, yeah, you can't use the main blade. What I could maybe do is file that down, which I've done on my mini Mora. But this one's got a 90-degree spine. Let's see how this goes. Now you've got to be careful because it's not locking, so I just put a bit of pressure on the hinge. There we go, and we'll see how we go. We're off. Put that in, get some twigs going, little twigs. Let's not smother it just yet. Starting to go. Right, let's put the knife away, and don't want to lose that. Cool. Right, finish using this, put it away. I start slowly getting going. No wind at all, it's a bit of a shame. Let's give him a little bit of time. Right, where's the smoke going? So smoke is going down that way, slowly. Now, I don't think anyone really ever uses that trail, and it's gone 8 o'clock at night, so I'm hoping there'll be no one down there. I don't think there will be. There we go. Beautiful. Right, what I'm going to use tonight is a grate like this. I've got 2 burgers, but I've got them in foil. And I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible tonight. So there we go, got some sauces. With the wind coming this way, what I should have probably done is just turn this so that the mouth of it was into wind, just to get a bit more air in there. But I think we'll be fine. Right, let's have a look. I hope they're cooked, I really do. We get them both off. And then this one, I'm going to, I don't know. Let's just chuck him back on there for a few minutes. He'll be my first. There's my brioche bun thing with some cheese all ready to go. Let's get a twig. Beautiful. And this can come out. Don't drop it down. There we go. Cool. Alright. We'll be alright for sauce. No. Let's put a bit of mustard on. No, that is nice. Yeah, this is a Friday night meal. Number 2's on the way. I reckon that's left over from my last visit. Right, we're done here, let's go. Oh, completely messed up. The trees I want are back there. Oh, I'm not going to make the sunset now. Bollocks, I've got about another 15-minute hike. Oh, Jesus, what an idiot. And that's where I was, just popped out down there. And that's where I was bivvying last time. And I thought, hang on a sec, it wasn't this far down. And now I know where I've made my mistake. Bugger. Missed the sunset. Well, I'll get out there. I might just make it. It's a bloody yomp. I could have made my life so much easier by applying a little bit of brain power further than I thought. Bloody hell. Come across a couple of deer on the way. Right, that's what we've got. Right, trees are just here, I think. Oh, what a plank. Still I made it. I'll get a beer out first off, and then as soon as it's tucked down, get the hammock out. I'm gonna have to show you the hammock in the morning. These two trees, sun going down there, long grass though. I bet all the ticks are in here. But what are these? Look, it's like a cobweb with a hole. Cobweb with a hole. Like a minefield. Oh, I'm not sure I want to be around there. Those look like big holes. But there we go. Beautiful. I want to get my hammock up, get my feet up, and crack one. You're right. Flipping heck. Life is not going well. Simple job. Stay there. Cheers. Kind of made it. That underquilt is a mess. I need to sort that out. Absolute mess. But hey, what a great spot. I'll show you in the morning. It's going to be fantastic just lying in there in the morning. Right, made it. So the bug net comes, it's just 2 zips. So you can unzip the whole thing. And then it just stuffs up into the bishop bag at the top there. So that's worked quite nicely. A little bit late, I'm about half an hour behind the curve, but I got a beer and I'm looking at a great sunset. I'm actually going to shut this down for the night now. Starting to run out of battery. I've yabbered on far too much already, as has been pointed out to me in the past. So I will finish my beers, probably get hay fever, and get a good night's sleep. And I'll give you a proper rundown of the hammock and in the morning. And you've probably seen them on there before, but I'll sort of compare it to the ones I've already got. And overall, it's favourable. Let's leave it at that. Right, see you in the morning. good morning. It is a beautiful morning, not too cold, a little bit of nip in the air, but I had a pretty good night's sleep, very comfortable hammock. There's no wind at all. My underquilt is completely messed up. This hammock, I've slept in it two previous nights with the DD hammock. Colour-wise, they match perfectly. They match perfectly, so they look really good together. The DD hammock with this one, and that fitted really nicely. But this underquilt needs some adjusting. When I get home, I need to sort out. It's just a mess. It's causing a bit of deformation in the hammock itself. But anyway, I can sort that out when I get home. But yeah, so what I think I'll do, I'll just talk about the inside of the hammock, and then we can talk about sag and the length, etc. And then I'll just talk about the outside. So the inside, if you look here, along there where the bug mesh goes on, you've got double stitching. And if you look all the way around, you'll see that double stitching, instead of being parallel, goes in together. It's a higgledy-piggledy stitching. I'm sure it's absolutely fine. It really doesn't make any difference. It's probably just a visual thing, but it is quite obvious. But anyway, I don't think it's going to make any difference. Zips. So here are the zips. They are not YKK. I think they're SRS or something like that. SRS or something like that. So yeah, not YKK, but I haven't had any problems, bearing in mind that I've only had sort of 3 nights in it, but I've had no problems. Now my other hammocks, I've got some of my more expensive hammocks have a double zip on one side and a double zip on the other side, and then you can unzip the whole thing and take it off, or so there's loads of flexibility. And that's the War Bonnet and the Superior Gear. They're great for that. Then my Hennessy hammock has got zips only on one side. Same with my Cocoon hammock, zips only on one side, and then the Hummingbird has no bug mesh anyway, so it doesn't really matter. This one has just got the two zips on one side, but you can unzip each zip all the way around to the other side, so they're connected up at this top end, and then you can unzip all the way down there, all the way around the bottom end, all the way back this side. And what that means is that very easily I can unzip the whole bug mesh and just scrunch it all up and put it up in the Bishop bag back up there. Now I can take off my bug mesh on the War Bonnet and the Superior Gear, but if you do that, you have to start lifting flaps and untying things and taking them both off, and it's a bit more involved, whereas this is really simple, just to take the bug mesh off or put it back on. It takes 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So I really like that option, but it just means that your zips are either that side, or you can have your zip that side, but you can't have a zip on both sides. You couldn't unzip one side and the other side during the night to sort out your underquilt. You've got to, yeah, it's one side or the other side. So but I've got no problem with the zips. They've caught a couple of times, but everything does really, don't they? So I've got no problem with that. The material, now the issue I had with the Cocoon was that they'd completely messed up the gathered ends, such that the side here was really tight, and I would have material right up here, and then it would flop over. But I couldn't actually get really asymmetric because it was too tight up here, and so it wouldn't relax back. Hopefully you see what I mean. This one is completely different. What I really like about hammock is the ability to be lying in the hammock and to turn and to look over and be able to see out. So I've got the material that's just by my shoulder here, and the War Bonnet is great for this. I can just lie there and look out of the War Bonnet, and this is one of those hammocks. And I don't think any of my other hammocks do that. Superior Gear, no, it doesn't do it. Hennessy doesn't. This one and the War Bonnet, and the only two that I can just lie here, asymmetric, and I can just look out and it's at shoulder height, which I personally really like. It's a big plus for me, and this one has that as well. So it's really well laid out when it comes to the amount of material when it's been put together. Car fridge, I had a car fridge on the first night I slept in this out away on holiday, but I don't know why I had it, because I haven't had it since. Because this is a 12-foot hammock, and I'll talk about the sag later, you can get really asymmetric. Okay, there's quite a lot of material here, you notice, and I think this is partially because of my underquilt, and I didn't notice this when I was sleeping in it last time with a DD underquilt. All this, but what I realise is I can just tuck it all over that way, and I've now got a little pocket, a little bit like the pocket on the war bonnet. But so it's no problem, you know. Normally you do have a wall up on this side, don't you? It's just that it's rather excessive, because it comes over quite a lot. I think that's down to the underquilt, if I'm really honest. I didn't notice it before, and I really do have to sort out this underquilt and set it up properly on here. But yeah, really, I can get really asymmetric in this, and I can get a really flat lay. It's almost as good as a Hummingbird, very close to the Hummingbird, but I got the bug mesh, so that's great. The ridge line, I'm going to talk about that in a second. That is fully adjustable. In fact, I'll talk about it briefly, because it's a 12-foot hammock, and what I've done, I wanted to fit under my tarps, and therefore I've set the ridge line, because you can adjust the ridge line length. You've got a whoopee sling. I've set that at 114 inches, which is what you'd set it for a normal 11-foot hammock. The difference, the snag now, is because I've got all this sag, I'm so much lower below the ridge line. So my organiser is up there, and everything is up there, and I can't actually reach the ridge line. Now normally I can put my hand up there, reach the ridge line. I would say this is a good 10 inches higher. It's high up there. I mean, it is, just about touch it there. Yeah, so that is one disadvantage of having a lot of sag. However, the advantage is that when I sit up, I don't have a ridge line banging on my head all the time. So that works out quite nicely. And particularly when you take this bug mesh completely off, it's almost as if you don't have a ridge line. So I do like this. Another thing to think about if you do go for different angles, and you go for a much bigger sag, is that you've got to put the straps about a foot higher up the tree. Now, if you have a big gap between trees, in order to get your right sit height, which I'm at the moment, so I personally like about, well, I'm guessing about 1.5 foot, I think is what I ideally aim for in terms of sit height. Then if you've got a big distance between the trees, then you need to achieve that, you need to go really high with your straps up the trees. Now, because you've got all this sag, you've got to go another foot higher, and there becomes a limit, really. You know, for me, I can get about 7.5 foot. I can get the straps up there. My underquilt is atrocious setup. I'm going to sort that when I get home. What I've done is you get these little Prusicks that come along. They're actually quite good with a bit of plastic on there. So this Prusick, I have tied it onto a bit of 3mm elastic, and that 3mm elastic goes down to my pillow, so he doesn't fall out, and that trick works beautifully. And then if I want to pull that out of the way, I just pull my Prusick up, and then just push that up out of the way. You get a bishop bag with it. So if I unzip this bug mesh all the way around, take the whole lot, and the zip, you'll see, comes all the way along here and up over the top, and then back around and down. And so if you unzip that whole thing, then I then just stuff it all up into the bishop bag and keep it out of the way. Right, what you normally get, this is what it comes with. It comes with a cinch buckle, which I do like, but these straps are really heavy. And the straps I've got for the cocoon and for the hummingbird, rather, my hummingbird straps are whoopee sling, really lightweight, and this is what I want to be able to do, is keep this whole setup really lightweight. So what I've added on, can't really tell, it's not obvious here, I've added on another continuous loop through the gathered end, and then onto that I've got a carabiner. Now I've just happened to attach all this garbage onto it. So normally that carabiner would be over here. So I've got both options now. I can either have the cinch buckle for this system, which has got a very long strap, it's pretty good, or I can just have a carabiner so I can fit whatever system I want on there. You know, if I wanted to put a daisy chain, not that I really do the daisy chains anymore, except for the winter one because it's simple. But yeah, if I wanted to do that, or if I want to do my whoopee sling, my really lightweight whoopee sling system setup, then I can just take that instead. So I've got two options on there. Yeah, I'm adding a little bit of weight onto the whole setup, but I like the ability. I do like the cinch buckles. They are very, very easy. And last night I thought, yeah, screw it, I want something that's really simple. But yeah, so that's what I've got there. I'm just going to take my pillow out, sleeping bag out, put those in, and then the whole lot I'm just going to unclip, and the whole lot will just go into my bag, just so I can I'll deal with it at home when I unpack everything. I'll pack it up in slow time with a cup of tea. Sorry, I should have mentioned, you do have, all the way around the hammock, you do have these little clips, which I'm guessing would be to fit their bespoke One-Wind underquilt, but nothing to say that you can't use those with your own underquilt. So if you do have elastic all the way around the top end of your own underquilt, I reckon if you've got 3mm elastic, that will just clip in there really nicely. Right, that's the end of the video, really. Yeah, a quick summary, a little bit of a cook up. We then had a little chat about knives. Very interested in what your thoughts are on knives. You know, for wild camping you don't need much, but if you're going to wild camp in the woods, then taking a bushcraft style knife is very useful. And I do have a lot of knives. I do like knives. I'm certainly no knife expert, but you know, I like knives. It doesn't make me a weirdo. But I did a couple of videos ago, and I had that Ka-Bar BK2, which I was watching the video back, and I thought that is actually a very inappropriate tool to be taking into the woods in the UK, and it just got me thinking about I need to apply a little bit more common sense and consideration for what the law is and what the intent of the law is, where you do have general public wandering around. I mean, having big knives like that and playing with big knives like that near a public right of way right there would just be completely inappropriate, and I just need to think about it. So, you know, my default will always now be legal carry knives, but if I think that it's reasonable where I'm going to be away from all the public, I'm not going to be causing any owner of the land any sort of concerns, and not going to attract any unwanted attention, then I will carry it, but it'll always be in the bag and used and then put away. There we go. And then a quick look at the One-Wind tent, which is rapidly filling up with flies somehow. One-Wind tent, One-Wind hammock, which, yeah, gets my absolute seal of approval compared to all my others. I'm very, very impressed with it, bearing in mind this is the 12-foot version in terms of comfort. Bear that in mind. You know, you may want to go for the 11-foot, but there we go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.